guy is or what really happened. And
yeah, it's absolutely on the forefront of people's thoughts and prayers.
And tonight, a possible break in the search for a Washington man who's suspected of killing his 3 daughters. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. Authorities searching for Travis Decker say bones were discovered this week following a search of the campgrounds where the crime took place. As Fox 13's Alejandra Guzman reports tonight, more campground and trail closures are likely as investigators expand their manhunt.
Everyone is wondering whether or not these bones do in fact belong to Travis Decker. But the reality is that we don't even know for certain if they're animal or even human remains. And officials say we won't even know for quite some time. Despite that, in the meantime, the Rock Island campgrounds, the scene of the crime, are back open again. The search for the missing father, Travis Decker, has yielded a possible break. Local and federal officials confirm bones and other items have been found, but it remains unclear if they're connected to the case.
I think in some people's minds, they're thinking that we're going to find a full skeleton, and that's not always the case. And if we were to find one, there's going to be bits and pieces because wildlife does spread remains around. And we'll follow up if this does come back to be something that's positive for our case.
The bones have been sent over to the state lab for testing. The discovery comes as several campgrounds within a quarter-mile of the Rock Island campground closed Monday and Tuesday. Skilled and trained personnel from several local, state, and federal agencies were a part of the search. That includes the U.S. Marshals, FBI SWAT, Army Criminal Investigation Division, and anthropologists. According to FBI officials, a search of this magnitude was in the works for over a month. We're talking about over 100 people bushwhacking their way through 247 acres of vast and rugged terrain.
So we're happy with what we've accomplished. We know that if we don't locate Travis in the next couple of days, years, that we can hand over information to any incoming investigative team. And there's digital mapping showing what areas we've covered.
At this point, there is no evidence Travis Decker is dead or alive or if he's had any help. Despite the temporary closure, campers and hikers are returning to the popular area.
You know, our hearts definitely are still very tender, you know, this being our home, our community, you know, that we grew up in.
Until they figure out really where the guy is or what really happened. And
yeah, it's absolutely on the forefront of people's thoughts and prayers, still being an unfinished, unresolved situation.
Until Decker is found, officials say family members of Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia and the entire community will not have closure. A fourth search surrounding the Cascades is planned for sometime in September. That's according to Sheriff Mike Morrison. It will lead to more temporary campground closures.
And we understand this is an inconvenience, but as far as I'm concerned, Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia, we're going to do our best to make sure that justice is brought to them. And a lot of individuals are just going to have to deal with that inconvenience because justice for them is more important than anything right now.
And still, there remains a $20,000 reward for any information that leads to Travis Decker. From Chelan County, I'm Alejandra Guzman.
Now to Logan, Utah, where the community gathered today for the second funeral of a fallen police officer. Sergeant Lee Sorensen, a 16-year veteran, was remembered as a cherished father and friend. He was shot and killed along with Officer Eric Estrada when the two responded to a reported domestic violence dispute back on August 17th. His brother described how Sorensen had just gotten his college degree at the age of 56. He was supposed to be officially sworn in as a newly promoted sergeant last Friday. The Utah State Legislature says it will redraw the state's congressional districts following a judge's ruling. The judge sided with plaintiffs who challenged the legislature's override of Proposition 4. That ballot initiative created an independent redistricting commission to draw maps for Congress, legislature, and state school board, but the legislature disregarded its maps in favor of its own. The plaintiffs said the maps gerrymandered Salt Lake County to favor Republicans. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has signed a bill redrawing his state's congressional maps.
Texas is now more red in the United States Congress.
Governor Abbott posted that video to social media marking the moment he officially signed off on redistricting. President Trump called for 5 more GOP congressional seats from Texas to help improve the party's chances of retaining control of Congress in next year's midterms. That, of course, set off plans for redistricting in other states, including California. Texas Democrats say they intend to challenge their state's new maps in court, arguing they will, quote, suppress the vote of people of color. Well, law enforcement leaders in Oregon are looking for clarity on how to respond to immigration enforcement operations. 34 sheriffs in the state have signed on to a letter supporting a request from Marion County that's asking the state's attorney general and the Justice Department to weigh in. This follows subpoenas that were issued by ICE asking local authorities for information about undocumented immigrants. Oregon sanctuary law limits the use of state and local resources for immigration enforcement. The sheriffs believe, quote, there is a good deal of legal uncertainty in how the state and federal laws apply to local governments and sheriff's offices. CVS is no longer offering COVID vaccines in Nevada, New Mexico, and Massachusetts as part of new policies announced by Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Also, to get an updated vaccine at a CVS in over a dozen other states, including Arizona, Colorado, and Utah, patients must meet age requirements and get a doctor's prescription. Other states like California and Alaska can still get the FDA-approved updated vaccines. Walgreens is also undergoing similar restrictions. A Southern California bookmaker who took thousands of sports bets from the former interpreter for LA Dodgers star Shohei Ohtani was sentenced today to just over a year in prison. Matthew Boyer appeared in court today for his sentencing. He pleaded guilty a year ago to running an illegal gambling business, money laundering, and filing a false tax return. He'll be subjected to 2 years of supervised release.
I'd like to say that for starters, when you do a crime, you got to do the time. So at the end of the day, I was doing something illegal, and my message has never changed from day one.
This case is part of a broader federal investigation into illegal sports gambling that led to the arrest of Ohtani's former interpreter. He is currently serving a nearly 5-year sentence for bank and tax fraud after stealing almost $17 million from the Dodgers star. The Transportation Security Administration is predicting record-breaking air travel over this holiday weekend. Here's a live look tonight at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. This is just one of the airports here in the West that is expected to be very busy throughout the weekend. The TSA predicts a total of 17.4 million people will fly here in the U.S. over the long holiday weekend. That would set a Labor Day weekend record. TSA agents are emphasizing the need for travelers to get to the airport early and anticipate long security lines as well. Well, many people traveling by car are filling up their gas tanks with the cheapest gas they have seen in years. According to AAA, the national average for a gallon is $3.15. That's the lowest average since 2020. People in some parts of the country will be filling up for less than $3 a gallon.
More oil is coming into the market. When supply is so abundant, that means that if demand's not outweighing that supply, we're going to see lower gas prices.
According to AAA booking data, the top 3 domestic travel destinations this Labor Day weekend are Orlando, Seattle, and New York. Coming up here on West Coast Wrap, you may have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. Coming up tonight, a new version of The Wizard of Oz plays the Las Vegas Sphere and stirs up controversy.
It's summer's last hurrah, and look at the people just flocking to the beaches. I'll share with you where it's going to top off in the triple digits with your West Coast Wrap forecast.
There's a tag for enough people to fill Dodger Stadium almost 1.5 times.
Also tonight, an exhibit here in the West calling attention to military service members who are missing in action. Tonight, the people behind it share how they are hoping to help families find closure.
I bought 4, so between my 4 and my wife, whatever she bought, so hopefully one of them tickets will win. Just need one to win, so.
That's all you need. $1 billion up for grabs in tomorrow's Powerball drawing. It's the 6th Powerball jackpot to reach the $1 billion mark in the history of the game. If a single ticket matches all of tomorrow's numbers, the winner can take a lump sum payment of about $453 million or get the $1 billion paid out in annual installments. Many people buying tickets today said it is fun to dream about what they can do with that type of windfall. Many, though, also recognize the gravity of the situation.
It could be a blessing. It can also be a curse, depending on how you use it. So, like I said, I just want to make sure if I get it, take care of my family and then probably help others that probably need it too. So.
Powerball tickets cost $2 each. You can buy one in all western states except Hawaii, Alaska, Nevada, and Utah. And the odds of winning, about 1 in 292 million. Tonight, crews are making progress at several wildfires burning across the West. Today, the Oregon State Fire Marshal moved to send some resources fighting the flat fire home. Containment on that fire northwest of Bend is up to 13% from 7% yesterday. Crews expect gusty winds will continue to be a challenge in this area. The fire has already destroyed 5 homes and 12 other buildings, and it's burned more than 23,000 acres. Authorities tonight still are trying to figure out the cause of that fire. In Northern California, crews responded to a wildfire in Lake County this afternoon. They say it has burned about 47 acres on Adobe Creek Road in Kelseyville. That's about 40 miles southeast of Ukiah. There are evacuation orders and warnings that are in effect for the fire. It is 20% contained tonight, and there's no word on any homes that might have been damaged in this area. Firefighters are making progress on the Picket Fire in Northern California's wine country. According to Cal, fire containment now is up to 51%. That's up from 33% containment yesterday. And some evacuation orders and warnings have now been lifted. The size of the fire is holding steady at roughly 6,800 acres. Cal Fire says this fire started at or near 100-acre Wines Vineyards in Calistoga. Investigators say they are looking into the possibility that discarded smoldering ashes from the vineyard potentially started that fire. Well, people in parts of the Southwest are getting their holiday weekend started with rain. Showers started hitting the Phoenix area before sunrise today. This is what it looked like if you were driving on the freeway this morning. For more, let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Roberta Gonzalez, who is tracking the holiday weekend forecast across the West. Hey, Roberta.
I just love that, Alex, because you know how that tallied up as far as rainfall amounts are concerned?
Not a whole lot, maybe.
How about 1/100th of an inch?
There you go. It looked like a lot on that windshield, though.
Yeah, right? Yeah, you know, but they'll take it after the week they've had with the haboob and the monsoonal moisture that's even lifted well into Nevada and California. Here's the latest deal. That was that monsoonal moisture. Wrap it around the monsoonal moisture over the Phoenix area as we zip on into that particular area. Now what we're seeing is just a little bit of lingering activity, and that's about it. There we go here. And you see that anywhere from Texas all the way into the Lubbock area, we are seeing plentiful rain showers. Okay, here we go now. This is in Glendale, just outside of Scottsdale in the Phoenix area. It topped off at 102 today, average highs 104. Look at all of the people. Now I got to tell you something. I just grabbed this image just a couple of minutes ago, and people are still at the beach with official sundown at 7:42 in Santa Monica, just outside of downtown Los Angeles at 94, well above the average of 81 degrees usually experienced this time of the year. And on Friday nights on the Embarcadero, here you have it, Jack London Square in the Oakland area. There's the skyline of San Francisco. You see the catamarans racing around, and tonight is no different, again, with the sun setting. Today's high in San Francisco, 68. Very similar conditions in Oakland across the bay where you see those sailboats. And in Seattle today, 72 degrees, and you saw that cloud cover there. I'll share with you where that's coming from momentarily. But meanwhile, let's go ahead and take a look at other high temperatures across the state of California. 97 degrees at the state capital, 103 in Palm Springs. It was 102 again in the Phoenix area, and 99 degrees in Redding with hazy conditions from all of the fires that continue to burn out of control. Again, I was talking about the cloud cover over the Seattle area. There you have that area of low pressure. It's actually textbook perfect with the core and then the wraparound moisture here, but it's falling apart at the seams. Only a couple of raindrops or two entering the Medford, Oregon area later on tonight. Now, meanwhile, it's 65 in the city. A good-looking evening in San Francisco, except it's pretty breezy. It's dropped to 74 in Los Angeles, 76 now in Salt Lake City. It's a cool 64 degrees in the Denver area. For your Saturday, nice conditions up and down the state of California, except for a plume of smoke in throughout the Central Valley from the Garnet Fire that continues to burn. That's in Fresno County. Otherwise, nice, warm conditions in the Pacific Northwest and heating back up again in Arizona. In fact, we're forecasting temperatures triple digits each and every day, but by Sunday above average. Denver, sweet conditions, and on Labor Day in Los Angeles, 92 degrees. Alex, make it a great weekend.
All right, you do the same. Roberta, thank you. A new museum exhibit in Bakersfield is highlighting the thousands of soldiers who are still missing in action and the mission to return each of them to their families. Fox's Michelle Roldan tours the exhibit, which features more than 82,000 dog tags.
There's 82,000 in here. If you look, Dodger Stadium, if you've ever been to Dodger Stadium, that holds 56,000. So there's a tag for enough people to fill Dodger Stadium almost 1.5 times.
Bill Potter, who just stepped down as president of the organization Missing in Action Remembered, shared that the display serves as an opportunity to honor the missing soldiers and give them the recognition they deserve. On Sunday, August 24th, the last 2 tags of the display were placed.
So it's been a long time coming, but we hope this brings awareness to the public of the plight of the families that are still wanting to bring their loved ones home.
Located inside the Portrait of a Warrior gallery, the display features over 82,000 dog tags of missing United States soldiers. These tags are organized by state and set against walls 13 feet tall. In the room, a faint song plays called Please Take Me Home, written by Pastor Tony Lee.
For the work that my agency does, there is no memorial like this that illustrates over 82,000 by name. I would also offer that we have to also remember that although there are individual tags here that represent an individual that fell, there's also a family behind.
Just outside the soldier's dog tag display is the section dedicated to Kern County's 126 missing in action. When a soldier returns home, their dog tag will be turned into gold, a powerful symbol of their return. One of Kern County's 126 missing in action soldiers had been missing for 81 years. He has been found, and so his tag was turned into a gold tag.
He's a Captain Arthur Lingo. He's been found, and he's coming home to Bakersfield to be laid to rest in October at the National Cemetery.
Potter tells me that it's a satisfying feeling to witness the coming home of a missing soldier. The exhibit was dedicated to Fern Sumter Winbush, the principal deputy director of the Defense POW and MIA Accounting Agency. Winbush's work involves helping families find their lost loved ones, but also provides regular updates regarding those families' cases.
We really need the word to get out, because this mission is not going to end in my generation. So I hope this memorial will help support that, will help raise awareness, and will hopefully get some future historians or forensic anthropologists interested in doing this mission.
In Bakersfield, Michelle Roldan, Eyewitness News.
Up next tonight here on West Coast Wrap, gamers from all over the world will be focusing on Southern California next year. Tonight, the week-long competition that's headed for LA. Plus, lions and tigers and bears in AI, the reworked version of The Wizard of Oz that's showing at the Sphere in Las Vegas, and how the production managers are responding to criticism of the project.
It's going to sound cheesy to say this, but we got a blank check and we did the movie that I would have done, which was The Wizard of Oz. Like, when I go back and I think about it, everyone's like, oh, but what about? And I'm like, nope.
A reworked version of the 1939 classic film The Wizard of Oz is raising some eyebrows. The adaptation, playing at the Sphere in Las Vegas, incorporates the use of artificial intelligence to make the movie fit the venue's screen. Changes include adding legs to Dorothy when the original's close-ups showed no legs. Other changes include eliminating characters from some scenes, including the Cowardly Lion and Uncle Henry. The project's visual effects specialist sees nothing wrong with using AI to bring this version of the film to fans.
I think it has implications beyond The Wizard of Oz now, and I think that we needed to demystify that. I've lived through several of these technological innovations. I used to process film photochemically and then moved into the digital era, from digital cinematography into visual effects and computer graphics. And with every one of these transitions in the tools of storytelling, jobs change they usually grow. They don't shrink. They don't get eliminated. They get adapted.
The movie is also 30 minutes shorter than the original was. Tickets to see it at the Sphere run from just over $100 up to nearly $350 apiece. A warehouse in Los Angeles will be transformed into a virtual sports arena. Fox's Eamon Dignam shows us how that will allow LA to host another international event.
The World Cup, the Olympics, and now this. The Global Esports Federation has selected Los Angeles to host the 2026 World Finals Games, not to be confused with the Esports World Cup that just wrapped up in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Los Angeles is where the world comes to compete in every form, from the field to the arena to the digital stage.
The city is partnering with the LA Times to put the event together. A warehouse near the newspaper company's building will serve as a virtual arena for players and spectators during the week-long competition, as well as an event celebration set for December 4th, 2026. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, during a press conference from the LA Times building, said the City of Angels was the obvious selection for the World Finals Games.
It is only fitting that Los Angeles, the creative capital of the world, will be the stage for the future of global competition in esports.
And the Games could be just the start of more esports events in Los Angeles. As the Global Esports Federation said in a statement, quote, "This deal is the first step in a major strategic collaboration, which includes plans for a state-of-the-art esports stadium at the Los Angeles Times El Segundo campus." Make sure to subscribe to the Fox on Games podcast, where we talk about esports and other game-related topics every week. In New York, Eamon Dignam, Fox News.
All right, finally tonight, a lifeguard here in the West was left a bit shell-shocked after he found an alligator snapping turtle under a dock in Lake Washington last week. The freshwater turtles are not native to the Pacific Northwest, and they're considered an invasive species that can't be bought or sold in Washington. While it's not clear how this turtle ended up in the waters near Juanita Beach, Washington's Department of Fish and Wildlife says it was likely an illegal pet that was released into the wild. Animal control was called in to help with the turtle's recovery.
He was not happy. No. He was living his best life here, and all of a sudden he was scooped up and put in a bin.
Not happy to go, to say the least. While another alligator snapping turtle was removed from the Penn Oral River in eastern Washington back in June, experts say there's no information to suggest that they are reproducing in the wild. Quite the find there. All right, that does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching as always, and a quick reminder before we go tonight, you can always stay up to date on the big stories we're covering across the West Coast by heading to our website. It's westcoastwrap.com. And please, we hope you will stream our shows on your smart TV. All you have to do is download that free Fox Local app. A beautiful sunset here in the West tonight as we head into a holiday weekend. Drive safely, have fun this weekend, and have a great night.